Good afternoon. Okay, let's have a look at this, see what's going on. Just change the screen. Good. Bitcoin, what's going on? Let's have a look. Sorry, I had a busy day yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to stream, unfortunately. Sometimes real life has to take precedence. And I'm gonna have quite a short one today as well, unfortunately. Apologies, this weekend has just been quite a hectic day, week even. Right, what am I looking at? All right, let's see what's going on here. Okay, interesting. All right, I'm gonna have to redo this stuff. So let me just have a look at this. What was that, short and long? Short and long. Almost missed it. I'm not actually saying anything, sorry. I'm just looking at the screen. I'm just looking at these monthly candles. Okay. Let's have a look at this. And Fed pull on the, I'm going to do a volume pull on the month as well, the previous month, so the whole of May. Okay. Interesting. I'm just analysing the charts. Actually, I'm not actually saying anything, so sorry, apologies for the silence. If anyone is here watching, maybe I should start commentating. I'm just kind of having a little overview first because I haven't actually looked at the charts, so I don't really know what I'm looking at. Let's have a look at the order flow. Actually, let's just go back to the price action. I'll just kind of commentate on it and then try and figure out what's going on. So where's the higher time frame levels as well? I'm just get this in. That's that, and then also the only other thing I'm going to do is another fib pull from this range low to this latest high. Let's see. Okay, split in a few lines. So we had a rejection from the highs of the range. It was like a double swing failure of here and here. And that rejection candle, consolidation for a couple of days, 3 days, and then sell. Retrace back to the same place, and then another sell. Another sell-off. Sell-off, sell-off. A couple of days up, and then sell-off, sell-off. And then we've had 5 days of selling off, and then today we're finally getting some kind of relief from the selling pressure. Nothing really changes as it comes to the overall sign of strength needed for increasing of volume and increasing of bullishness, it would still be the same. The price needs to reclaim the point of control, basically there. Nothing's really changed there. There's still the sign of strength required to show us that this is no longer, this downtrend is confirmed, the confirmation of this downtrend ending. Basically, you need to go up there and back test it. And you're back into this neckline, you're back into this range. It'd look quite bullish if the price did that, and it would look like an inverse head and shoulders on a higher time frame. So that's what you'd like to see. That's what we'd like to see for strength. And obviously we don't know how long it will take, but it's just an idea of what the price would need to do. I do think if we do start going up, we'd go up quite fast. So I don't necessarily think that it would take a long time to go up, just because I think in this down move, most of the liquidity has been cleared. And so obviously the point of control needs to be flipped, and then you have a daily level there that hasn't been touched yet. So for all intents and purposes, this one, which has been front run, has been cleared. It still probably resists though, so it's still a level to be contended with. But actually there's a daily level up there as well, levels, and then you've got that weekly level up there as well, which also has a daily level on it. So that's probably the strongest level in this overall kind of, if we were to move up. Flip the point of control, and then you're into resistance. That would be kind of it'd be quite impulsive, huh? 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can we do that? Be interesting to see. That would be bullish. And then you just have to hold the point of control as support. So whatever happens next, you need to hold the point of control as support. And then that's really confirmation. So I'd be interested to see if we can get some kind of impulsive move up, right up to that high volume node, up to that weekly level. That would be a very good place for the price to come for a short, actually. Actually, the golden pocket's underneath it slightly, so yeah, a bit higher up. You would, yeah, I mean, if that, yeah. Anyway, that's kind of what I would like to see for a sign of strength. So I am in and long at the moment. And I think the reason why I'm in and long is because 2 reasons, really. Firstly, if the price wants to impulse, this is kind of the area that it would do it from. And it might be too soon. The price might need to go down a little bit more. But either way, this is kind of the area that you could expect to see the price move. And then the other area, obviously, the other area of interest is much lower down. And so you take your, it wouldn't be a bad thing to take a stab at a long. And you have to take profit, obviously. Well, what I liked about this previous candle, this yesterday's candle, was that a nice large buying tail. There was a swing failure of the previous pivot. And then also it closed above the previous low. So you had a kind of swing failure with a close above the low. And at the very least, in this kind of reversal structure, you could at least see the price go up to there if it's going to reject. Yeah. And so it's obviously, it's not a bad place to be in a long, just also because the invalidations are quite small here. And there's no reason why the price needs to go up. It can always just range here and go down. And so I think that's kind of what you'd be looking for next to see what happens. Does the price just range here? Because that would be quite bearish if we had some kind of prolonged range bound behavior here. But what you'd want to see now after today's a little bit of a little bounce today is continuation. So whatever happens, you want to see the price continue. You want to be the price to find support somewhere here or slightly lower and then continue moving up, you know. And if you don't see that kind of price action, then it's not going to look bullish, is it? If we've created the kind of a little bit of a structure here. It looks like an inverse head and shoulders a little bit. Are we back into the neckline, ready for another move? This is a good question, but I mean, if you don't see that, then you start seeing the price just fall right back into the lows. That's not going to be bullish, is it? It's not bullish at all. Yeah. As long as the price is holding support, it's going to start looking bullish. But if you start making lower lows here, you see we've been making higher lows in the recent price action. So let's see if that trend continues, if we can start continue putting in higher lows on these 1 hour time frame candles and start putting in higher highs. If you start seeing that, then you could be at a pivotal point where the trend is about to reverse. And I did say in one of my posts, probably on Twitter actually, that I'm looking for some kind of reversal pattern here, and that's also what I'm looking for. It's interesting because here it kind of looks like a 3 drives down, kind of. And then you had this kind of buy up, and then we had and then there was like another swing failure, but it was just a liquidity clearance exercise. Could still be in that 3 drives pattern, but we just had a little fake out just before it wants to move. And if we're on that kind of pattern idea, let me zoom out a bit. I don't know. This came back too far, to be honest. We should come back to the 618. So unless that's not it, unless it's this, don't know. Let's see. That's a 618. That was perfect. 618. Maybe one more, huh? Because the question is this, because usually it comes with a 618, and here it overextended. See, so. And the question is, was that just an anomaly? And actually it was meant to go to there. That would be correct. So to go to there, 618, 618, 618. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. That would have been it. That would have been completion. So that would have been completion if that was the first drive. So what's this? Fake out. Didn't even get to the 618. That's a previous daily level there with some kind of SR flip going on. Maybe we get one more, I don't know, or maybe this is it. But anyway, this is trickier because there's more there's more than 3 drives. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, this was the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This could be the third. I don't know if this first one is a drive, to be honest with you. Gonna kind of maybe potentially ignore that, because otherwise it's too much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it's too much. So maybe this one will be better. 1, 2. Where would it have started from there? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's your 3 drives. So if it starts from there, then the target here is yeah, it's there. That would be your target. At 66.5K. Does that work? Yeah, they all come back to the 618. That comes back to the 618. 618. This is the last drive, and then you go all the way up to the 618 from where it began. So that's where it began. This is potentially where it ends, and so you're going all the way down here, and that's your target. That's the invalidation. So potentially that's not a bad trade. Now we've had the first kind of reaction, and so now you're looking potentially for an entry for a long on this kind of idea. That's your hard invalidation, and that's your target. That's already a 1 to 2.5, so it's not a bad setup with a wide invalidation, but you can obviously kind of zoom in a little bit and have a look and see if you can find a better entry. So in this context, just looking at the way the candles are forming, let me just pull these into their own group now. Okay. This kind of move, an entry. Well, it's tricky because you want to hold the neckline, don't you, of this kind of structure. Maybe a little volume pull. There you go, the point of control right there. That'll probably be the best entry here. Hold it and continue. And obviously if you have a swing failure and hold it, it'll be even better. I'm taking out that low. Yeah, but you still have to get back above point of control at 64,100. That has to hold as support or flip it back into support if you lose it, and then maybe we can have another move up to my higher target here, this daily level at 66,500, 66,600. That would, it's kind of the idea that I have right now of this kind of trade setup. As long as we don't put in another low, that would be the invalidation. But I mean, who knows? We have to see how that plays out. It would be quite a big mover for a green. You'd have to have a nice big green candle all the way up to there, and then people would get really bullish if that was to happen. So who knows? No one really knows what's going to happen. But let me just pull it up again. No, oh, okay, not yeah, all the way up to there, because we started here, didn't we, at that pivot here. So effectively we started here with 3 drives, and you just want you need to, that would be the pattern complete right up to there. So that's kind of the trade idea that I have right now. That's why I'm in a long. I'm in a long on BTC and on SLERF. SLERF to my detriment or to my credit, I don't know. Let me have a look at my positions. I've already taken profit on SLERF. I'm actually in a long on with SLERF, ZRO and Lister. So I'm in about 5 longs at the moment. And the only one that I'm not in profit on is Bitcoin. But what's interesting is that I've always said that when SLERF shows strength and Bitcoin shows weakness, that's something to be considered. And so here, when you're looking at SLERFs, today's SLERF price action and Bitcoin, you can clearly see that SLERF is showing a significantly more strength than Bitcoin. And I like that. I like that SLERF is showing strength. Yeah, look at that volume, that buyout. Yeah, was that a squeeze? Was that a short squeeze, or was that something else? Well, this is a good question. And so I think we had a short squeeze first. So what was, I mean, I've been trying to short SLERF for a large amount of time. All the way from the highs, I've been trying to short SLERF all the way down, and it hasn't been bad, right? And obviously at these lows, yesterday I was saying I don't like to short an extended down run at the lows. I said that, and I wasn't a short, but I had a really tight invalidation. And as you see, we're making lower highs here on the price action. Hold on. All right, I have to take a 2-minute break. I'll be back in 2 minutes. I'll restart my SLERF analysis in 2 minutes time. So if you can be patient, that would be appreciated. Starting SLERF analysis in 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, give or take. Right, I'm back. So SLERF, what's going on? Well, like I was saying with SLERF, I like to compare it with Bitcoin, and as you can see, we've had a little bit of a bullish reaction from these lows, and then we had a really some increasing volume and a good nice buy up. Okay, so the volume is key here, so you want to see that the volume has come in. That's our first bullish reaction in a long while. This is the first bullish kind of indication. The other thing that was bullish with SLERF was the funding rate. So I noticed that this morning, and it's quite interesting because I haven't seen it at all on SLERF, and that is bullish funding rate. Let me explain what that means first, and let's have a look at it now to see what it is at the moment. You see that? So this is Bybit derivatives, inverse perpetuals, not inverse perpetuals, normal perpetuals. You see it's always been neutral, and then it's been bearish at times. Bearish, 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 bearish. That's red. And obviously I'm not really too fussed about these other exchanges, just Bybit. And you see yesterday, or was that this morning? It was this morning at 9 a.m. we had bullish funding rate for the first time on Bybit, and also BingX had bullish funding rate. It's gone back to neutral now, but you see how it was bullish. And so what that means is that the exchanges have too many shorts open and they're trying to close shorts, and so it goes to negative funding rate, which means that shorts are now having to pay longs which are open on an 8-hourly basis to keep their positions open. So when it goes to bullish, or when it means that the exchanges are now paying people to long or hold longs open. That's the first significant change or shift I've seen in this token since it's launched. Okay, bullish funding rate. And then obviously the other thing that I was interested in yesterday was this increasing volume here, this candle here, this one. You see the increasing volume there? So that's quite bearish to see that. So when I saw that the price action was kind of looking really droopy, and then we lost the lows here, and then someone just basically, what happened was someone just shorted. And I was kind of looking at that price action when it happened yesterday. There it is. Yeah. So let's just go to the 1 minute candle so you can see exactly what was going on. In about 1 minute, you had 2.134 million SLERF of volume. Yeah. And in that single candle, the price dropped about 4.5% or so. And then what's interesting is you had this following candle, this green dragonfly doji in the lows. And if you look at the volume, you can see it's pretty much the same. It's about 2 million SLERF of volume, and the price didn't move. Actually, it closed higher. So it's a contrast of two candles. You've got one high volume candle in 1 minute, and the price drops nearly 5%, and you have it's followed by another high volume candle, and the price doesn't move. If anything, it closes slightly higher, and it takes liquidity from the previous low. There was no real reference to why this candle did this, and I was looking at the whole price range, and I was just looking at why did we get a reaction here. Looking at historic price action, there was no reason why we reacted here, except it was the low of this red candle here. Okay, and was it a swing failure? That's the question. So let's have a look. No swing failure. So we made a slightly higher low than this candle here, this red candle here. And these red candles are the the order candle. So the price went all the way down, filled the orders, and had a reaction. What's interesting about this area also is it came to my 1.272 ratio on this fib extension. So we've had a nice, I would consider that a really nice reaction. And at the moment, we're looking at a higher low at the moment. Yeah, unless the price wants to go down one more time. At the moment, that's what we're looking at. And obviously, you know, I've been considering some kind of bottom somewhere here. And just because the bad price action was extremely bearish, I was contemplating something like this. And the funny thing is, this is also valid. Yeah, so you have two types of harmonics in play. You have a butterfly, a bullish butterfly, and a bullish bat. And this would be a bat, right? And you just don't know which one is going to play out. You just have to wait for the reaction, wait for the sign of strength, and then you'll be looking for an entry with a clean invalidation. So in this context, that is your invalidation. If the low has been made, that is your low, then that would be your somewhere here. So the next question would be an entry, because you'd be looking for an entry then. Effectively up to the 50% mark of this range. You'd be looking at that. Like that. Perfect. All the way back up to that area of interest there. That 50% fib. Depending on how bearish it is, it could resist at any single point, any single fib. So you see already it's come up to the 236 and these previous pivots and found resistance. Yeah. So potentially, if this is the bottom of this harmonic and it's a bullish bat, not a butterfly, then you're looking at a target of 3195. Okay, in this context. Otherwise, we're still going down. Okay, and that's like, no one really knows what's going to happen. I think if and when the price is able to get above this pivot here, that would be confirmation. So what you really need is kind of above and a back test to hold for continuation. That's what we need to see for continuation in this context. Yeah. Obviously, the price could easily reject here as well and head right back down. And so that's the other thing in play. We're just seeing a little bit of a little relief before we have continuation. And we have to see how much relief we get, because the continuation could actually take this lower to complete a much more bullish, but also looking bearish in a sense, price action, but more like it's probably more bullish to have a butterfly taking out the lows for a reaction. Well, not really. I think this is probably more bullish actually, just because you put in a higher low. Let me just have a look at these timings as well to see if I see anything interesting here. It's kind of come, look, see, it's coming on the 618 almost. Could it come further down like next week? That's definitely also, like, it's funny because you'll be looking at one harmonic here, potentially pulling up, going up all the way to here, but you could still end up here. You could still end up there. Yeah. So even though we're going up, if we do manage to kind of have a little bit of a pump to there, you could still go all the way down there to complete this harmonic. Yeah, so even though potentially we're forming some kind of bullish bat, you could still go up, find resistance and reject, go down all the way down to actually complete a much deeper move down to form a different kind of harmonic. So you have to kind of bear that in mind, and then you have to kind of see where the price is looking to find resistance. So in this context, that would be perfectly acceptable, wouldn't it? come back up to the 50%, complete this harmonic, react to a perfect reaction of this harmonic, but still to continue down to form a much deeper move. I think I'm more inclined, I mean, this would get people bearish or bullish, and that's the thing. This is the other thing. As the price comes above these pivots, people are going to start longing, and it may actually just be a little bit of a mid-move correction for a deeper move to the downside. And that's what we have to see what happens next. We have to see how that plays out. And then the other thing I'm kind of keeping in mind is if this doesn't go down, if it goes up and up and up, and so looking at the local time frame, the lower time frame, this was actually really quite impulsive, wasn't it? This is quite impulsive too. Yeah, so that was quite impulsive. We have some kind of flat correction here. That's quite impulsive, isn't it? It's quite impulsive. Maybe some kind of correction here of sorts. I don't know. And then maybe we have another little move up. It happens. You get lots of these like little 5-wave moves. So I don't necessarily think we're just going to go up, up, up and up, but probably up, down, you know, have to come back and back test. So just got to be aware of the way the price moves. It's not going to be a straight line up, but there is a little bit of volume. And so in the context of the volume that's coming today, if you take a kind of slightly wider time frame, you see our candle of interest is this nice big green candle. If I go to the 1 hour time frame, you can see it clearly. Just like these now. Oh my god, there's too much drawings. Just change it. Whatever. Analysis. So you see you've got these kind of increasing volume. Probably that's the big one, isn't it? It's the big green candle on the 1 hour time frame. The first sign of weakness here would be to come back on. You see, you lost the top of it and you came back above it. So you obviously don't want to come back into that candle again. So the first sign of weakness here in this local price action would be to come back into it. And then obviously to lose the candle, start closing 1 hour candles underneath that. That would be really bearish price action after you seeing some injection of volume. Okay, so in this context, you've got quite a tight invalidation. In the first instance, you don't want the price to come in back here, and in the second instance, you don't want to come right back down here. And so as long as this continues, we might actually start seeing some bullish price action continue here. You know, we've put in a lower low here, we've taken out the lower high. That's your lower high. We still haven't taken out this high here, this higher high. So we're still potentially we could change market structure here if we take out that high with the 5-minute time frame. That's kind of what we're in the process of doing now. That was your higher high here, and we're looking to take it out. If we take out that higher high, this will become your higher low, and then we can start seeing how far this little kind of bullish rally can continue. Yeah, so I mean, on the higher time frame, I think everything is still determined on what happens to Bitcoin. Nothing really changes with regards to that. SLERF hasn't looked strong in the last few days or even week, and we've had a bit of a sell-off. Maybe this is the correction complete, or whatever this was. Maybe we're going down further. Maybe this is just one kind of little relief rally before we take another dump. No one can really predict that. In any case, you can clearly see that we came down to test and hold, potentially hold this pivot here. Yeah, so this is the right place if the bulls are actually in control for the price to find support and go up. Yeah, this is the right place. The value area low, little fake out back into the value area, into this area of interest here, a little reaction from this pivot, higher low. Could we be putting in a higher time frame, higher low here? And what's interesting is we went quite close to this pivot here. Could we be doing the same thing here? It looks very similar. How far did that come to? That was the 886. How far was this? 886. It's just literally what's happening right now is you see here it went all the way down and it came up to the 886, and in reverse we've come up here, and in a kind of zigzag formation we've come down to the 886. So there is a pattern here, and potentially this could be the, this could be the low, huh? This could be the low. It's possible. Yeah, so while everyone is like mega bearish, just bear in mind that we're not far from what could be the low, and all we need to see is some kind of pattern, a bottoming pattern here, which is going to give people confidence to break out of these lows and head to higher prices potentially. Yeah, and so naturally you've got this kind of lower trend line that's formed, very symmetrical to the top one. Yeah, it'd be fun. It'll be quite interesting to see what happens, but I mean, it'd be funny if we just do this. This, you know, just over the next few months, and all we're really doing is just kind of range bound behavior with lower highs, higher lows over an extended period of time, putting in volume here. Okay, that in my mind, that's the most likely course of action, course of price action, just because the momentum's still quite heavily to the downside. So I'm not actually expecting some kind of crazy breakout to the upside. I like that the prices come back to the 886. I like that we are potentially forming higher lows and lower highs, and maybe, you know, maybe it's one down to there. And how would I do this? No, like this. So maybe one. How would I do this? 1, 2, 3. No, maybe. Don't know how I would do this because of this pivot here. You'd have to hold higher lows here, retrace to back to the 50%, down to the higher low, lower high, higher low, higher low here, all the way up to the top there, back down to the middle, back to the top, back down to the middle, and then maybe up or down, depending on if you hold support. But to go up, we have to be in the top part, and that's what I've got in my mind. And then obviously I don't expect us to just go up, and the only other way we can go up here would be if we had a crazy V-shaped recovery. So I'm not expecting that, and certainly not while we haven't even got past halfway. So potentially up, down, up, up, down, up. And then obviously this doesn't actually need to go up. It could go like that. So it wouldn't be very likely to just do that. It'd be more like and we've seen how strong a down moves we can have with this token. We've had really strong up moves, really strong down moves. It's very possible that this, I mean, in an inverse of this inversely looks like a V shape, but inverse. So if this was technically, if this was to be a strong bearish price action, then you couldn't technically actually come above this inverse golden pocket here. That would be your resistance line. So you'd have, that's how we would know if this is strong or not. If the price can get back above that point and get all the way up to the 50%, then we're probably looking at more like a range bound consolidation period here, accumulation, consolidation, call it what you want. And then I've got this with it going up. That would be bullish for the price to get into the highs again. If it was bearish, you'd go up and then you'd just be making lower highs, and then, you know, you'd be looking for lower highs until it drops. Bullish would be for us to actually break out of the low of this range and start testing the highs again. And then obviously, as long as you're in the top half, then you're probably going to be bullish. And if you start dropping to the bottom, you'll probably be looking for bearish price action to the downside. So what I would like to see now is where we find resistance. Do we find resistance off this neckline here? That would be really bearish. That would be like the most bearish situation here after this kind of little bounce. If we go up a bit more, find resistance there, just to kind of do that. Yeah, that would be the inverse of a V-shaped recovery. So it's like that's your V, and that's the neckline. Find resistance, and we're going down. Okay, that'd be really bearish. If we break that and we go up to 50%, that would be cool. Then I'll be looking for a retracement to make some kind of higher low here, and we'd have to see that maybe once or twice before we can have a big attempt to the top of this range. And I don't necessarily think we're going to break out in any time soon of the top side of the range. So I'd be focused in on a wide range here first. Okay, so there's lots of options here. I'm not really bearish right now, to be honest with you. I was bearish up there, but here at the lows, I'm in the long. I'm bullish. I'm more bullish here than I'm in the highs, and I'm less bearish here than I'm in the highs. So inversely, I'm bullish down here, and naturally, I'm looking for a bottom. At the lows, you're looking for a bottom. You're looking for signs of reversal. Like I said, we have a couple of signs of strength. We had the increase of value. We had swing failure of these lows. And we're back above the structure. See, there's quite a few bullish signs here. You add that to the funding rate, which was bullish for a brief time, and now it's back to neutral now. A bit of a short squeeze here, potentially. And what I'm expecting now, at the very least, is just to go back into this structure here. At least here, just for a test. I'm expecting that. And we'll see. We'll see what happens next with SLERF. Yeah, so it's kind of SLERF update today, not as long as usual. Just because I see green candles doesn't mean you're going to long. You're still going to zoom in and look for good entries or a good setup to long on the lower time frame if you're looking to long on the higher time frame. So if people are looking to long this now, usually the best entries are high volume swing failures. Yeah, sometimes you don't get them. I usually zoom in on the lower time frame for those kinds of entries. You see here, you've got this high volume red candle here. You see you had a little pivot here. It was a high volume candle, and as the price came back above, price just went up. So these are kind of the best types of long entries, these swing failures with high volume. They give you the best entries. Okay, the best one obviously was when you have increasing volume at the lows. This is the 3-minute time frame, but you see here, I usually go to the 1 minute actually, to be honest with you. That's when you get to see the actual individual volume come in here. Look, see here. Got a pivot here. Look at that. Increasing volume red candle on the 1 minute time frame. See that? It came underneath the pivot and it closed just at the pivot, basically. So these are the best entries if you're looking to long. This high volume swing failure, invalidation at the lows, that's a long. And when you are looking to long and you're trading with the trend, the swing failure, then the price can actually trend quite well. Yeah, so technically these are the best ones. Short of that, you know, below of a range, a volume range, or the point of control, or short of that, if you're seeing higher lows, then effectively you're looking for higher lows. Yeah, so in this context, you can see we're forming higher lows here. Higher lows. If you want that trend to continue, you wouldn't buy the highs, you'd buy the lows, but you're looking for higher lows. If you see that trend, just follow the trend. You see here from this pivot made, minus that one, high low here, putting in higher lows here. Now you want this trend to continue. Yeah, so you don't want to lose these lows now that you're putting in higher lows. And certainly in this context, you don't want to get back into these volume candles and lose these volume candles, and for the price, otherwise the price will fall back down here, and then it's going to look really bearish. Yeah. So if you start seeing weakness, you'll see it very easily, because the price action will show you. It will start with lower lows. Yeah, so it's not difficult to see what the price is doing, and that will help you adjust your bias when you come to trade and come to buy and sell. BTCD is interesting. It shows weakness, and then the altcoins and everything pumps, shows strength, and everything looks like it's going to zero. I'm wondering if we're going to get some kind of fake out here, where it looks like we want to go higher, but actually we don't. Like I don't like to preempt when I don't have confirmation, but you see here we came and took the high there, and we've had a rejection. Or I'm also wondering whether we just kind of do this and then still do that, just kind of fake out and then go down. But it's kind of like I'll just get rid of this brush strokes. I am wondering if we and then it'll fake out. So it looks like an inverse head and shoulders, which I hate. And then we have a fake out, and then we just come right back down, and that's when we have a breakdown. I'm wondering if that forms. I'm not sure, but obviously, you know, I'm also wondering if we just get in front run, huh? That's what I'm wondering. So we won't know until we lose this value area and start changing some kind of market structure here, bearish. At the moment, we're back into this kind of value area, so it's quite bearish with BTCD at the moment, but only up to this point of control. That's probably from here to here will be bearish, and then BTCD will potentially back to bullish again. So it's hard to tell what's going on, except that we're close, but we're not to the point where it would give us confirmation, and then you don't want to preempt what could happen, so you need confirmation. And so confirmation would be that it's not gone up, that's not going to go up. If we start going down and if we lose that area first, that's how we'll know that actually maybe this was, the whole thing was front run, in some weird way. So that's kind of that. Let's have a look at a little bit of TRVL. Let's have a look. So I think I saw a sign of strength on TRVL actually, and that's kind of what we're trying to do. We're trying to wait and be patient, wait for the strength, wait for strength to come, not preempt it, not over, just wait. Yeah, basically that's kind of what I've been saying. It's good to wait and see what happens, and then you can make better decisions because you have more information, which is data driven, isn't it? It's all data driven. So we've come underneath the golden pocket. We're back into above the lower part of the golden pocket, and this is kind of what you want to see. You want to see the price go down, which has happened, go right back up. It's happened. It's cleared the liquidity from the highs, and it's made a higher high here in this context, and then we're coming back to find support here. if you hold that lower part of the golden pocket, then this could be a good entry for long. That's your invalidation, and then you're looking for a reclaim. Your next reclaim would be the 618, and you could actually, it is possible in this context to form a bottom pattern, and this first part of it is in. And simply the reason why I say that is because we just, you know, you've gone down, you've put a lower low, but you've gone straight back up and taken out the high. Okay, so we have to see how the price behaves here. It's like a little V, isn't it? And does the price now round? Does it kind of come into some kind of downward channel, or are we just going to get failure? And failure would be just to come right back down. Okay, so 3 choices here. Because we're still above the lower part of the golden pocket, I'm still thinking that we could still find support here. And then the only other thing to bear in mind is we're at the value area now, and the price is trying to find support. It's not succeeding at the moment, but it's trying. Okay, so it might just require it to go down one more time a little bit and then come back up, or we'll have to see. So there is a little bit of strength here in the price at these levels, a little bit of reaction from this area. And you can see the volume that's come in as well to support that idea. You've got some market buying, 246,000, and then here's like 191, 130, 150, 144, 142,000. So consistent buying here. What's interesting is here you had quite high volume selling, like 500,000 here. See that? Someone sold, like, that's the volume, so it's probably half and half. But that's quite a lot of volume, and then we had a reaction. Okay, so I'll be interested to see how this price forms here, and whether we can actually bottom out here. So this might take a while, so there's still time to be patient. If you look at the golden pocket and how it's drawn, and you see where the price is now, then it kind of, you can see there's a little reaction, right? And so the next confirmation here would be to reclaim the 618 at 39650. Okay, you can reclaim that as support. Then you might get a lot of people start buying again. Whatever happens here, you just have to go level to level to see what happens. Yeah, and so until it happens, if there's going to be an impulse, it will happen when it happens. But in this context, we need to reclaim that. Then we need to go back up to the point of control and test it. We need to go back down here, maybe back test it again. But either way, we need to just reclaim levels to go up. Okay, so it doesn't really matter if you go up impulsively or slowly. You still need to reclaim levels and flip them into support to go up. And that's effectively what needs to happen now. The question that many people might have is, well, I'm hesitant to buy because we've had many kind of situations where we had like little false starts, and actually the price just reversed and it started going down. And that's really the reason why people hesitate, because they're looking at this and they're thinking to themselves, well, obviously we're in some kind of downtrend now. What if we just keep on putting lower lows and just head right back to the bottom? You want confirmation to start longing. Yeah, you want confirmation to start buying. You're not. And so naturally I was saying to people, just let the price settle, which it's trying to do. But in this context, you want to see a back test, and you want to see the back test hold. So you see that you have this wick here with this green candle here. That was a very effective back test of the 618. We lost it, and we had one back test here as resistance, and we had one back test here as resistance. Yeah, so we don't actually have a confirmation of flipping it back into support. Here we've come underneath the lower part, the 6.6. We've come above, and we haven't yet had confirmation that there's support here. So we're still kind of free floating. We've had a little bit of indication of strength, but we're still free floating a little bit. And so what you'd want to see now for confirmation is either to find support here. That would be good, because if you do find support here and not lower down, then you have an invalidation too. And then you want to see the price go up and reclaim that. So that would be the sign of strength that would give me confidence that we're probably heading right back up to the point of control. If we can get back above the 618 and flip it with a back test into support, then I think it's more likely than not we're going to head up. And then the only other thing you have to bear in mind, and just you have to bear this in mind, it's going to require a little bit of volume, just simply because you have a daily level here in the way. And so whatever happens, that daily level has to be contended with, and that also has to be somehow flipped into support. And so whether we go up like this first, or whether we are actually trying to form some kind of pattern here, you know, and we do something like this, it's anyone's guess, really. And you see where we're finding support now. These two daily levels here are offering us a little bit of support. It kind of went through it and now it's back, so it's more of an area, and that kind of corresponds with the value area low on Bybit too. If we can hold here, then this could be the low, and confirmation would be to get back above the golden pocket. Okay, and that's how we'll know. And then if we do, I mean, imagine if we do manage to get back above the golden pocket, and then we could be, that could be the price action right up to the point of control. Is that the low? Potentially not. Yeah, you might want to see something else, because you could get people potentially continue selling into that, and it might be something else. You know, you might get another attack. I don't know. Who knows? That gets in. Yeah. Some kind of, what you're looking for is some kind of reversal pattern. Right. Look at the monthly time frame. It's pretty miserable for the bulls, isn't it? But we've finally come back into this red monthly candle, and we found a little bit of support. Okay, so maybe it's okay. Maybe we just came back down to fill the gap, and now we're into support. Look at this, increasing volume this week. See that? And we're getting some buying tails now. So we haven't had that in a while. So that's quite interesting. And that's the weekly candle. We have to see how the weekly candle closes. I mean, in this circumstance, a bullish close would be right back at previous week open, with a green candle with a wick underneath and increasing volume. That would be absolutely, in this context, the most bullish outcome for the bulls would be a close at 41091. Yeah, you close it at 41091. That'd be really bullish. Increasing volume with a green dragonfly doji in the lows, be really bullish. It could still be bullish if you have a red candle with a wick. It's just, we might still have another attack at the lows. That's the thing. So we're kind of in the right area. We are finding support. You see how the volume has kind of increased, but the price is just slowly. It's struggling to get down. Yeah. And obviously this has got something to do with Bitcoin. Now, if Bitcoin is now trying to turn, can you imagine? Look at what this is looking like now. If Bitcoin starts to turn now, and we start to turn now here, I think that's going to interest a lot of people if we start getting that kind of price action, because people are now looking at a ginormous 2-year inverse head and shoulders pattern. If this is the point where we are starting to find support, and if the price now starts to try to work its way up, this is going to start looking really interesting for a lot of people. Yeah. And you have in this context, you have a slanting neckline, something like that, and I don't know, you've got a really massive head, isn't it, all the way to the neckline. And this is going to take you to $1 just on that, just on this single. If we have a break of an inverse head and shoulders like this, the measured move would be about right up to $1. It's something to bear in mind. Okay, now patterns always can fail in many ways, and obviously failure in this context would be right back down. That's failure, so you don't want to see that. If we do find support and we do go up and we do break, then you might be looking for a back test somewhere, but without losing the neckline, but probably on a lot some kind of back tested pivot like that, and that would make sense. So you wouldn't necessarily just kind of go up and up and up. You're probably looking for a retrace first before we have a kind of the volume coming. So that's where you can get a failure. So the failure is going to come after the first take profit, after we expand out of the neckline. Yeah, so you get this kind of, as the higher you get after you start forming this right shoulder, the more bullish it becomes, because the more interest you start to attract from the wider market, from the audience. Yeah. Then you need a break, and the break would just be people being more and more bullish as the price goes up, and they start buying in market, start pushing the price up. And then you have a break, and then you're going to have a big take profit. And the take profit is going to be anyone who's been buying here, anywhere here. They're going to have a big take profit, because wherever let's say your average is about 6, you go all the way up to 13, 14, whatever, 17 cents. You're looking at a 200% increase in value. So, you know, people will take profit, especially if they've got larger positions. And then the next question is, where do you come back, and where do you find support? So if you have a nice successful head and shoulders break, you don't have too many people taking profit. People are holding for higher, or you have people taking profit, but there's more people buying as the price pulls back, so you have continued interest. Then you could find support on the top of this pivot, would be the right place for continuation, for a higher low here, some back test for continued. But you need, and the problem here is that if you have too many people taking profit, not enough interest, then this is where you get the failure. And so you go from something that's potentially bullish, which is an inverse head and shoulders with a bullish breakout, to something that becomes extremely bearish. You just have to bear that in mind. So it's one thing to want an inverse head and shoulders, but the one thing we don't want is a failed inverse head and shoulders. And because if you do get a failed inverse head and shoulders like this, yeah, it's like a swing failure on the higher time frame. It's basically it's basically what it is people miss their opportunity to take profit at 12 cents, and this was their chance. They took profit at 12 cents. Yeah, so because they missed their first chance, the next time it comes around, they do it. They take that opportunity. They're not holding for higher. And even though here that would be really good, because if you went higher than 15 cents, you're putting in a higher high here on the weekly time frame, but then you'd be looking for a higher low. Okay, and again, this would look really bearish. And so if you do lose a neckline and some kind of horizontal SR flip, you're back underneath 9 cents, it becomes really bearish. In this context, I wouldn't be surprised if the price made another attempt for the lows. And so therefore, you don't want a false break. That's my point. You want a head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders to break. You want a proper break. You want increasing volume, and you want that volume to persist for the duration of the continuation. Yeah. Because it's really hard to recover from a failed inverse head and shoulders, which has been taking 2 years to form. It would be very difficult to recover from that. All right. The only way to recover from that would be to be again another fake out back above the neckline like that, but it wouldn't be easy. All right. And so it would have to be off 9 cents effectively. So for a short period of time, it would get really bearish, but then you could find support for continuation. So you just have to bear that in mind. All right. So anyway, there's some options here for what could happen. whatever happens, it's going to require an increasing volume, because naturally there's a lot of people again. So it goes back to the same thing that I've always been saying, is trapped liquidity. You can't just go up, you have to clear the liquidity. This is the bull market volume, i.e. the volume from October through till now. You can see that we're underneath the value area into the golden pocket here. So according to Bybit, most of the volume since October has been above the current price. So potentially a lot of people are underwater. However, once you can start reclaiming levels, it'll start looking bullish again. And then we have to see if the volume comes in, if the people start getting bullish. But this is the same problem is here. Like when you go back up to 5 cents, when you go back up to higher numbers, you've got a lot of people who might be potentially trapped, who might be looking to sell without taking a loss as the price comes back up. And so that's the kind of thing you have to kind of keep an eye on. And then obviously the next thing you have to keep an eye on is this current high. If people miss the 12-cent high, they may be looking to sell into that. Okay, and so whatever happens here with this inverse head and shoulders, we need a convincing break with volume. You want to basically, you need the bulls to overcome the sellers, and so when the people who are selling are taking profit, people who bought low are taking profit, that volume has to be overcome with more continuous buying to push the price up. Right, that's TRVL. And then yesterday we had an update, and all you have to do is just go on to the channel, Dtravel's channel, and have a look. It's quite a good update, and it was quite a good update. Yeah, it was yesterday. You can see this update here. You read about it, the Airbnb sync, and it says the dev team have nearly finished the rewards program. So that's going to be a big deal for increasing TRVL value, mainly because people will need TRVL, and therefore for the first time we're going to have some kind of significant utility. There's some major changes coming to the website next week. Okay, and look at what they write. This is the beginning of a new chapter for Dtravel, and the rewards program will provide an opportunity for the community to earn from it. So we have to see how that plays out. It's quite good updates. I'm not going to go on for much longer. Someone asked me about CUFF. I know I posted a video a few weeks or a couple of weeks back saying that I've sold all my something else for this gamble, which is literally a gamble. That's all it was. I did say at the time it's a gamble. No one really knows what's going to happen. These new coins, they're basically coin flips. It could go up, it can go down, and the gamble is that it goes up, right? That's all it is, really. You could lose everything. So naturally with these tokens, you don't put in what you're not willing to lose, okay? But you could also make a shit ton of money. So initially I had this going as some kind of accumulation pattern. In my mind at the time, I thought it would be logical for there to be some kind of equilibrium, some kind of prolonged correction. Obviously, it was trying to do that until it lost areas of support, value area low, and then we've obviously had a little bit of sell-off. It's quite hard with these tokens because when they do sell off, they're so illiquid and the volume is relatively so low that the price moves way beyond the lower limits. Okay, so not good for anyone who bought higher up, because they're looking at their gains, their unrealized profit, whatever, and they're going, shit, well, I've lost everything. Yeah, that's what people are saying. So that's the thing, when you do this, it is a gamble. It could have gone up and went down. So what do? Do you trade? Do you buy? Do you sell? What do you do? Yeah, well, it's a tricky one, because this will always be a gamble. It's never going to be anything more than a gamble, and you could lose everything. Most of the time when people lose value, it's because of some kind of bad behavior, some kind of rug pull, or the people who have launched a coin are trying to scam their audience. Yeah, I don't get that vibe from this. Yeah, I don't get that vibe at all. And who knows? But what I'm seeing is that SLERF had a really problematic time with SLERF Capital and with the new meme chan or 3chan meme, whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called. Chan. Is it called Chan? Don't even remember what it was called. Chan. There it is. Meme chan. And I think these tokens, these smaller meme tokens, this one I think is created by the SLERF Capital and the whole SLERF group. They was obviously taking a massive beating. So I think that's what's happened. SLERF has taken a massive tumble. Yeah, and if you look at SLERF, you'll see how it's dropped a lot. Okay, and we've had the same kind of impact on anything to do with SLERF, effectively the SLERF quote unquote ecosystem. So SLERF has dropped a lot, like 51%, and you're having that same impact on other coins to do with that, and this is actually much worse. It's 84%. Yeah, and just simply because it's a lower market cap drop. The low volume indicates there's not much interest, but it's not like crazy bearish in the sense that it's a high volume drop. People are selling because they're out. It's just a few people selling and there's low volume. So the low volume means that it's quite, it's I wouldn't say bullish, but it's just the value doesn't reflect the price dropping. Yeah, so you see there's a lot of market buying, selling, and the price drops, but it's mainly because no one is buying, not because the selling reflects the value. Yeah, if you have people selling and buying and the price continues dropping, then that just tells you that the market is weighted to the sell side. Right now, you're just getting a lot of sellers and no buyers. Okay, and I think the reason why people aren't buying is because of what happened with SLERF, and potentially also because of everything else, what's happening with Bitcoin. So this is the question: is it the right place to buy? Is this a good place to buy, or what do you need to see to buy, and should you buy? Well, as always, it's a meme coin. It's a gamble. Yeah, so you have to employ a different strategy, and in this context, it's going to be some kind of prolonged accumulation strategy, dollar cost averaging in over a long period of time. I think that's the safest way to accumulate, because you don't really care if it goes up or down, because you'll end up with a good average. Yeah, and you can average on a very consistent period, or you can have a prolonged period. So, you know, we're about to see a godforsaken weekly candle, another one. You could accumulate weekly candles, red weekly candles, until you have a nice average at the lows. It's always possible. I'm not saying you should, I'm just saying it's possible. Okay, I think it's more likely than not that this will go up in the long run, but that's just obviously going to require some kind of craziness now in the context of crypto and Bitcoin. It's going to require a little bit of craziness, right? So I've got the volume, I've done that. Let me have a look at this. Let me just kind of, now we have a little bit more data on this token, I can now kind of mark out areas of support and resistance. Got here, there, so you've got like a daily level there. Just make it like blue. There's another one there. If today's candle is red, there'll be another one today here. Can't tell. With a weekly, got a week. So your strongest resistance right now is at 2465, just simply because you've got the daily level point of control at the same area. It's quite strong resistance there to go up. It's like a 10x, it's almost like it's like an 8x increase in value. from our current price. About 7-8x. It's come down a lot, huh? Look, it's come all the way down to there. It may come all the way down to here. The launch price. It may. Yeah. Sometimes with these tokens, that what they do is they're just falling back to test. $618 is down here. That would be, I mean, that's probably the extent of what I'm thinking, but is it log? Right. So I think people could wait for strength here if they want to, and strength here in my mind. So I've done a fib pull from that pivot high, from the launch to the pivot high, just because we're kind of lower than this pivot here. And naturally the first area looking for strength will be to get back above this pivot. That would be like an SR flip. That's kind of what you want to see. A little SR flip here. And that would be a real sign of strength in this context, because you're getting back above the golden pockets too. So kind of what you want to see is this, and that would be your entry. SR flip back above the golden pocket. That would be a nice sign of strength, and then you can look to buy the pullback into support, and you could potentially form a bottom like that. Yeah, something like that. Whatever, could be anything, but something to get back above the golden pocket and that SR flip. And that's going to be the safest entry for most people, right? And whatever happens, you still have to get back into the value area. So, you know, you could always go up and reject to head right back down. But effectively, that would be where it begins. It will begin somewhere here if we can reclaim the golden pocket and get back above the SR flip. Yeah. I think in the higher time frame, the reality of this token, as most memes go, is you have to just accumulate over a higher time frame and hope that it pumps in the future. That's really the strategy here, and be patient. And this could trend down for a while, as long as it doesn't go down too deep, just because of the momentum. You don't want a really long extended downtrend to form, but ideally you want the price to round and then to go flat. That's kind of what you want to see. And so if people aren't really sure and they don't really want to get involved because they think it's weak, then getting back into the value area would be strength. Yeah, so this is the first sign, but to go up and get back in, not reject, or reject and still find support and then get back in, that would be strength. Yeah, and you still have this outer trend line which needs to be broken too. So if you can get back into the value area, get back above this daily level and get back above this trend line, then that would require quite a lot of strength to do that. And from the current price, you're up. It requires a 233% increase in value by the first week of July or thereabouts for this to be strong, and then potentially we could work our way up to the top of the price range. Yeah, so from the current position to the top, it's like a 33x just to get to the top there. It's a lot, huh? 33x. It's worth a gamble, huh? So again, it's just a gamble, isn't it? It's just a gamble. All right, so that's CUFF, and I hope that helps anyone who's interested in that. Okay, SLERF is looking quite good. Bitcoin is looking okay. So maybe we have another update tomorrow. Okay. Have a good day, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Probably in the evening again.